10 Canadian cities that are ruined by immigrants. Did you know that in some of Canada's largest cities, nearly half of the population is now composed of immigrants? From Toronto to Vancouver and Montreal, cities once known for their strong Canadian identity are now facing rapid change. It's not just about numbers and statistics. It's about the daily lives of residents being transformed, deeply and unpredictably. Imagine living in a city you once knew inside and out. Suddenly, you start noticing that familiar things are disappearing. Housing prices skyrocketing, peaceful neighborhoods becoming crowded, and crime growing more complex. This isn't a nightmare you can easily wake up from. It's the reality that millions of Canadians face every day. In this video, we will explore the heavy and emotional stories behind 10 major Canadian cities being devastated by the massive influx of immigrants. Number 10. Surrey, British Columbia. We begin with Surrey, one of Canada's fastest-growing cities. Once considered a symbol of peaceful suburban life, Surrey has now become the center of heated immigration debates, with over 40% of the population being immigrants. This growth isn't just about numbers, but represents significant changes in social structure and daily life. Residents of Surrey have begun to feel the impact of these changes as schools become overcrowded and crime rates start to rise. Worse yet, the population boom has overwhelmed public services, making life increasingly difficult for everyone. Long-time residents, who once took pride in their peaceful city, now feel pushed to the margins, with their cherished cultural identity slowly fading. Surrey is no longer a place to escape the noise and chaos of larger cities. It has become a hub of tension and disputes. Can this city withstand the sweeping changes? Or is this the beginning of a new, unfamiliar Surrey? Number 9. Hamilton, Ontario. Next is Hamilton, a city once proud of its industrial roots and hard-working labor community. But now, Hamilton is facing an unprecedented identity crisis. With over 25% of its population being immigrants, the city is grappling with unforeseen economic and cultural changes. Hamilton, once the cradle of the steel industry, is now witnessing traditional neighborhoods being replaced by multicultural residential areas, leaving many locals feeling out of place. These changes not only affect the city's appearance, but also have a strong impact on the job market. Long-time workers, who were once the backbone of Hamilton, now feel left behind as new industries and younger, more dynamic immigrants take over. Hamilton is transforming at breakneck speed, and for many, it's happening too fast and feels too foreign to accept. Number 8. Halifax, Nova Scotia. Continuing our journey, we arrive at Halifax, a coastal city famous for its rich maritime heritage and cozy, small-town atmosphere. Halifax was once a symbol of peace and hospitality, but now, with nearly 20% of the population being immigrants, the city's fragile balance is being tested. What's happening in Halifax? The answer lies not just in the growing number of immigrants, but in the far-reaching impact on the lives of its residents. The housing market, once considered one of the most accessible in Canada, has now become overloaded, with real estate prices skyrocketing. This has created a stark divide between long-time residents and newcomers. Locals who once took pride in being able to afford homes in their city now face an unprecedented housing crisis. Homes they once called their own have suddenly become an unattainable luxury. But it's not just housing. Halifax's traditional culture, characterized by its fishermen and long maritime history, is slowly being overshadowed. New communities are emerging with different customs, festivals, and values, making Halifax's unique identity more vulnerable than ever. Locals are worried about losing the cultural soul that has defined the city for generations. Halifax is experiencing an identity crisis, a mix of what once was and what is yet to come, with an uncertain future. Number 7. Winnipeg, Manitoba. Next, we visit Winnipeg, a city known for its strong sense of community and traditional values. With over 25% of its population being immigrants, Winnipeg is no longer as safe and stable as it once was. For many, Winnipeg was once a symbol of family life, with affordable living and security. But the rapid demographic changes have shaken the core values that once built this city. The influx of immigrants has brought new challenges to Winnipeg, including issues of crime and social tension. Areas once known for their peace are no longer as safe as before. Crime rates, from petty thefts to street violence, have increased, making many residents feel insecure in their own homes. This tension goes beyond crime statistics, affecting the psyche of the community. Many feel disconnected from the neighborhoods they once knew so well. In addition to crime, Winnipeg faces cultural and social divides. Immigrants bring new cultures and values, challenging the city's long-standing traditions. Festivals and events that once represented the spirit of Winnipeg now have to compete with new customs and traditions, leaving many locals feeling like they are losing touch with the city's past. Winnipeg stands at a difficult crossroads. Can it hold on to its strong sense of community amid such rapid change, or will it become a city unrecognizable from the one it once was? Number 6. Ottawa, Ontario. Canada's capital, Ottawa, has long been known for its peaceful atmosphere and political stability. But with nearly 25% of the population now composed of immigrants, Ottawa is undergoing unprecedented changes. The strong growth of immigration is directly impacting the city's housing market, leading to a housing crisis that few could have predicted. Rent prices have skyrocketed, pushing once middle-class neighborhoods out of reach for many local residents. But the impact is not just economic. Ottawa, once known for its order and sense of safety, is now struggling to maintain public services in the face of a population boom. Schools are overcrowded, the healthcare system is being stretched to its limits, and cultural tensions between different communities are increasing. Areas that were once peaceful and easy to live in are now facing deep changes, from lifestyles to the overall atmosphere. The question is whether Ottawa can maintain its stability and community spirit amid this increasing pressure. As the capital, Ottawa not only has to meet the needs of its residents, but also set an example for the entire country. However, with such rapid economic and social transformations, many fear that Ottawa is at a critical turning point where its traditional identity could gradually be lost. Number 5. Edmonton, Alberta. Edmonton has long been considered a symbol of resilience and strong community spirit. Famous for its oil-based economy, Edmonton was once a place of opportunity for hard-working laborers. But with nearly 25% of the population now immigrants, the city is facing challenges no one could have anticipated. Edmonton is now dealing with unprecedented pressures on jobs and public services. New immigrants have intensified competition in the job market, particularly in lower-paying sectors, making it harder for long-time residents to find stable employment. This change not only impacts the economy, but also disrupts Edmonton's community spirit, which was once known for its unity. Additionally, the city's healthcare and education systems are under tremendous pressure to serve a rapidly growing population. Healthcare services are facing longer wait times, while schools are becoming overcrowded. Many Edmontonians feel that their city is being pushed to its limits, and the cultural and social changes are happening too quickly for them to keep up with. Edmonton, a city once proud of its unique identity, is now struggling to maintain its traditional values in the face of such drastic change. Can the city continue to grow while holding on to its identity, or will it gradually lose the character that made it famous? Number 4. Calgary, Alberta. Calgary was once a symbol of Western Canada's strong cowboy spirit and an economy built on oil. With nearly 30% of the population now composed of immigrants, Calgary is experiencing unprecedented change that threatens the city's community spirit and traditional way of life. Jobs in the oil industry were once the lifeblood of Calgary, but demographic and cultural shifts are creating increasingly fierce competition in the labor market. Newcomers bring different skills and expectations, leaving many long-time Calgary residents feeling disconnected from the economy that once defined their lives. But it's not just about jobs. Calgary's residential areas are also undergoing profound changes. Areas that were once home to native families are now becoming more diverse with the arrival of new communities and different cultures. This is causing tension between traditional values and new perspectives. Calgary stands at a major crossroads. Can the city reconcile its growth with its cultural heritage, or will it be swept into an irreversible process of urbanization and multiculturalism? For many, the future of Calgary remains an unanswered question. Number 3. Montreal, Quebec. Montreal, a charming city with a deep French culture, a rich historical heritage, and ever-evolving creative arts, is now facing a major transformation. With over 30% of the population being immigrants, Montreal is undergoing a shift, but not in the direction that everyone had hoped. This city has long been the largest French cultural hub in North America, where French is not just a language, but the soul of Montreal. However, the continuous influx of immigrants, especially those who do not speak French, is shaking this stability. Montreal is facing growing challenges in preserving its cultural and linguistic identity. Schools are struggling to teach French to new generations of students, while locals feel increasingly disconnected from the neighborhoods they once knew so well. Streets that bore the unmistakable marks of Quebecois culture are changing by the day, with new restaurants, shops, and communities appearing. For many long-time residents, the cultural values they once cherished are gradually fading. The differences are not just linguistic, but also strike at the heart of Montreal's spirit. Quebecois people take great pride in their heritage, and their greatest fear is that the city will lose its uniquely French heart. The question is whether Montreal can embrace growing diversity without losing its deep cultural heritage. If current trends continue, Montreal risks becoming a completely different city, where French identity remains only in memory. Number 2. Vancouver, British Columbia. Vancouver, with its breathtaking scenery and global culture, has always been an attractive destination for immigrants. But with nearly 45% of its population now foreign-born, Vancouver is also facing major challenges, especially regarding housing. This city has long been known as one of the most beautiful places to live, but it has now also become one of the most expensive cities in the world. The rapid influx of immigrants, particularly from Asia, has put immense strain on the housing market. Real estate prices have soared, with homes in traditional neighborhoods now only affordable to wealthy foreign investors. This has forced many long-time Vancouver residents to move out of the city, unable to afford what they once called home. But housing is not the only issue. Vancouver's public services, from schools to healthcare, are under immense pressure. Schools are overcrowded, and hospitals struggle to serve the growing population. This rapid transformation has created a wave of discontent among the local community, who feel that the city's infrastructure cannot keep up with the fast pace of growth. The Vancouver they once knew and loved is changing rapidly, and the city's future remains a big question mark. Number 1. Toronto, Ontario. Finally, we arrive at Toronto, Canada's largest and most diverse city. With over 50% of the population being foreign-born, Toronto has welcomed more immigrants than any other city in Canada. While this diversity has given Toronto new energy and cultural richness, it is also creating significant challenges. Toronto's housing market is one of the clearest examples of immigration's impact on daily life. Home prices and rents have skyrocketed to the point where many long-time residents can no longer afford to live in the city, especially in the downtown core. The influx of immigrants and international investors has made finding housing more difficult than ever, and many Torontonians are being pushed out of neighborhoods they have lived in for decades, Class divisions are becoming more apparent as native residents are forced to relocate to the suburbs or seek more affordable areas. Additionally, Toronto's public services are overwhelmed, classrooms are overcrowded, hospital wait times are too long, and public transportation struggles to serve a rapidly growing population. These challenges are reducing the quality of life for many Toronto residents, making them feel like their city is losing its unique identity. Toronto, once hailed as one of the most multicultural cities in the world, is now grappling with the question of whether it can balance diversity with livability. This city is changing rapidly, and for many, the Toronto of yesterday no longer exists.